Hi, I'm Aaron. Welcome to my channel. Grant Cardone said there are a few steps to creating wealth. The first is to make money, making money. The next is learning to keep money. And then the third is learning to multiply money. I'm still figuring out how to make money. This is my process on how I manage my money and see where it's going. So my personal financial statement splits into a few sheets. The first sheet is the financial statement. This is an important sheet for me because it summarizes everything else that goes on in the sheet. And it has a few very important metrics. But let's assume I earn 20,000, right, per month net. I put that amount here, and since there's no other incomes, passive and portfolio, it shows as total income as 20,000. Other expenses come down here. Tithe will be 10%, charity will be 1%, which means my net monthly cash flow is going to be total income minus total expenses, and it shows that amount here. And as I said, this summarizes everything else that happens in the sheet. So this is the first page I look at and I have. It puts assets down here and liabilities down here. And then it shows two different net worths, one per the banker and one per rich dad. I follow the rich dad net worth definition, which takes out everything else that doesn't make you money, right? I think it's a clearer picture for me. So the next sheet is assets, and it goes deep into everything I own, from cash in bank accounts to people who owe me, to stocks and bonds, to silver, gold, crypto, everything. And it totals it down here. My next sheet is liabilities, which is also a deep dive into liabilities. All these sheets are connected. Assets and liabilities all feed into this sheet right here. The different figures feed into the sheet right here. So liabilities is the opposite of assets. Everything I owe people, from personal debts to bank debts to credit cards. We don't have any of those in this sheet in our example, so our liabilities are 0. My next sheet is an overview sheet, which summarizes everything in every account, and is pretty similar to the net worth sheet, the financial statement sheet, But then the difference is it has a pie chart here which shows how much is in cash, how much is from your business, commodities, stocks. It gives you a visual, so you can see what you have. And I'm a visual learner, so this works for me. The cash flow sheet is the most manual part of the sheet because that tracks income coming in and expenses going out. And it's got categories which will be used on another sheet. So all these are dated. So July, these are all the transactions for July per the account. This sheet was set up with the help of a tutorial by Nicole Alba. I'll link that in the description. She goes through how to build this particular sheet, so I'm not going to go through that. The breakdown is the next sheet, and this looks at all the income and all the expenses in detail. It takes all the categories and allows me to see that I've spent more this month compared to last month when it comes to food, and basically drill down into where I spent more and where I spent less. It tracks salary, how much you get in salary, and other incomes. And some of these look repetitive based on the other sheets. They don't have to be input manually everywhere. You can input them manually somewhere, and then they feed into other places because they do different things. At the side, I've got a little summary which takes the total income, takes the total expenses, and then how much I moved to investment, and shows me how much I used in expenses, how much of income I used in expenses. The goal is obviously to keep that number low. This is my net worth sheet, and that goes really into detail about everything I own versus everything I owe, and then gives me my net worth as a figure, either green or red depending on the calculation. This is a final sheet in my financial statement. I use it pretty often. This is the most important, one of the most important sheets, because it shows me where all my money is going to go. So if I earn 20,000 in a month, I put that figure in here, and I know that I want to invest more than 50%. So there's a formula here which will do the math. This is 60% for now. But then how I use this sheet is I look at all the expenses and what I'm left over with at the end of the month and see if it's enough. If I think 4,000 is way too much, I would adjust this and make it 70%. And now I'm left with 2,000. Or make it 72%. And I'm left with 1,006, which isn't too bad. So what this means to me is this is the figure that would move to my investment account or wherever I move my investments to. This is tithe, and so I'll pay immediately. This goes to my charity account, and at the end of all these moves, this is what I'll be left over with. And the reason why I do this instead of just sending money is because it helps me map out what I'm going to be left with, and lets me make sure it works for me and how I live, and I don't get surprised when I see that I have little money left over after all these transactions, right? It's basically just a guide. I missed something in this financial statement though. There's a few metrics over here. So cash flow looks at how much money you keep based on your income versus expenses. As he said, should be increasing. So per this example is 89%, which isn't too bad. How does your money work for you? This will be based on passive portfolio, income, and all those things. If let's say you make 1,000 in interest, you see that it changes, and now your money is working okay. It's not working very hard, but then it's still doing better than zero, right? How much you pay in taxes? Because I mentioned net, there's no taxes in this example. How much goes into housing? It takes the highlighted spaces, and those will be the expenses that go into housing, and it'll do the math on them for you. How much you spend on doodads, which is this figure right here. Doodads currently at 5,000. If we change that to 7,000, you'd see the figure has gone up to 27%, which he says should be kept under 33%. What's your annual return on assets? And then how wealthy are you? So a concept about wealth is that it's not about how much money you have, it's a ratio, your income versus your expenses. So this sheet right here measures your wealth in months. So if you have 18,000 in assets, and then you have expenses of 2,200, you can live, if you were to stop working, you can live for 8 months, 8.38 months without having to work, right? So that's your wealth score, right? So this right here is a complete overview of how I manage my money currently. It's always changing up as I learn new things, So I'm sure this will change up in the future, but this is it for now. And I hope you found this interesting. Thanks for watching. Bye.